Okay.
Some water. I need some water. Yeah, what up? Are we live? There goes my water. What's happening? Yeah, we're talking about Luciferian white supremacists. And what was the rest of the title?
And their deceptions.
And their deception. And we got Johnny here, KZJ, and my brother Veckel. And we're just here in the Lord and Spirit, just talking about things that we see in the world today that's got us, seeing how they fit with Scripture and what we see with our eyes. So the topic is pretty, near to what we usually talk about, exposing Luciferianism and some of the doctrines and some of the wickedness in the philosophies of men today. So, what, first of all, is a Luciferian? Well, from my understanding, a Luciferian, whether he knows it or not, is the belief or philosophy that men can be like God. I'm getting an echo from Johnny.
Okay. Now, how about now?
Yeah, so the Luciferian doctrine or belief or philosophy, from what I understand, goes back to the Garden of Eden, where the serpent told Eve that if she partook of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that she could be like God. So these people today, in different forms, have adopted this Luciferian principle. So, like the, for instance, this is where the concept of the pyramid comes from. It's that the person at the very top, or the group of people at the very top, control everything because they have knowledge that the steps below them don't have. So the bottom steps, it's like a class system, if you will. The bottom steps, they know less than the step above them. So once they're promoted to that step, they take an oath not to reveal that information, and until they get to a higher step, they then revealed more information. So the concept that once you attain knowledge that other people don't have, you can manipulate them, thus being like gods, in other words. So in different forms, this is really the core of it. So when we look at white supremacists, um, what are some of their beliefs or doctrines? Well, from what I understand, a white supremacist, they like commonly the most commonly known ones are the KKK. So like a KKK member believes that they're God's, some of them, most of them, I would say, well, they're God's chosen race of people, and that the rest of the people are either uh, not as evolved or not chosen to be uh, worthy of life the way that they live life. Some of them are atheistic. They have a naturalistic philosophy that they're more evolved than the rest of the people. But at the core of it, if you push these people far enough, they ultimately believe they know more than you do, and because they know this, they somehow justify their notion that they are supreme or like God. You can find this in all throughout history and secret societies like Freemasonry, like the old Knights Templar basically became the Freemasonry that we know today. They claim to hold the knowledge. This is where uh, the light bearer come from. This Illuminati phrase, if you will. Lucifer was said to have been cast to the earth like what? Like lightning, like a lightning bolt. Said that he disguises himself like an angel of light. So this is where this Illuminati comes from. These people uh, say that they're illuminated with wisdom, with knowledge. You know that serpent tail. So uh, Luciferianism, in a nutshell, is very ingrained into our culture, whether people realize it or not. Especially with like evolution. That's the whole point. Uh, I believe Darwin had in mind, and these Darwinists today, is that eventually man will evolve to transcend into immortality. This is where this transhumanism slash alien agenda is coming from. They want you to believe that someone is so advanced that they can travel through the skies or through the universe on advanced spaceships, and they can break uh, the what's it called, the barrier between where they can travel back in time, or like time isn't an issue. They can just skip through portals and be on different planets. They believe that that achievement is possible. So, and if one of those things visited us today, how would we see them with our limited technology? Like gods. So I can go on and on how Luciferianism is ingrained in every part of our culture, in the textbooks, under the guise of naturalism, materialism, philosophical naturalism, and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah, brother, since you mentioned naturalism, yesterday I had a discussion with a brother about the whole thing in Egypt, those heavy stones that you mentioned that were lifted by most likely static electricity or changing the frequency to create an anti-gravity effect. Now, there was a documentary that he showed me saying that, look, this guy supposedly, there was Michael Heisner and another guy who supposedly debunked this ancient alien hypothesis or ancient alien theory. And I looked at it a bit and I became skeptical of that, not because he said this. There was another guy, John Pierre, I think, and I think John Pierre is not a Christian, right? He's an atheist materialist who wants to not give credit to the ancients that they had marvelous technology that we today can't even think of.
right.
Like Hutchison tried to reproduce it, I think, and he even remember when the Hutchinson effect came about, everybody jumped on him and said, no, this is impossible. He's faking it. There's nothing
Mm.
behind this and stuff like that.
I don't remember that in particular. Probably if you reminded me, I might remember. But there
Mm.
have been people who've given explanations ad hoc, pretty much, of how some of that stuff could have been done. Like Vecco, matter of fact, I was talking to some Black Hebrew Israelite Freemasons
Mm.
the other day.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
man, it was
Wow.
random, and I was thinking of you the whole time, you and G-Man the whole time, because I know that's y'all go at it with them quite a bit, and I was just there talking, and they had some knowledge, bro, about Freemasonry that never imagined. Well, I could probably imagine it, but I never thought I would come across from them. They really knew some stuff, but they were deceived about where it ultimately come from. Like, of course, they denied a flood. A couple of these brothers weren't Hebrew Israelites. These Masons, were denying a flood. But it's crazy how you know, all of this is reconciled with the Bible. The flood explains it. After the Tower of Babel gives us the benchmark, right, of this culture trying to take over the world again and establish a one world establishment. This Nimrod, right? Remember? So
Right.
what
Right.
happened? God was like, no, you're trying to use this wisdom and and recreate what was before the flood. That's not going to happen. So I'm gonna mess y'all whole little scheme up and screw up the languages and disperse y'all. So what did those people do that dispersed? They tried to cling on to the little bit that they had that was left over. So when the people stumbled upon Egypt and they stumbled upon these stones, they were like, basically, oh, this was what our ancestors did, right? This is what we're gonna try to be like them. So they tried to recreate those kingdoms. This is where the dynasties come from, where these pharaohs with this knowledge, right? We're not gonna let the average person know what we know. Therefore, watch the movie Apocalypto done by Mel Gibson. He was telling you how the elite operate today, and it's such a good movie, man. It's kind of gruesome for those. It's definitely not PG, but it's so like
Watch
it
the
takes you
twins.
back, man. So like you remember the ritual scene where like the sun was like blotted out. You remember that scene where the sun
Mm.
got dark and they were up there chopping people up and sacrificing. What happened at that scene? Those people knew that that was gonna happen. They knew it. The people on top of the pyramid, they knew that that sun was going to be blackened out, and they was going to put on this whole little show and say, okay, now that we've sacrificed enough blood, right, we've appeased the gods. What we've said all along is true. Worship us and follow along and be our slaves. And all those people was just going along with it. And the same thing is
Mm.
happening today, just on a more occult scale. Occult basically means hidden. It's basically on a more hidden scale. The Freemasons today move as puppets behind the scenes and they mock you here and there with symbolisms and rituals and things like that. But the sacrifices and things like that are done behind the scenes. They've replaced those with like celebrities now, the new idols. Like whatever the celebrities say and do, they're gonna do. Whatever they say they're gonna vote for, they're gonna vote for. They've got it all under control, right? The government, don't worry about a thing, you know. But behind the scenes, though, it's the same as those people on top of that pyramid at Apocalypto, not telling you how the world really operates, but sacrificing you for their own occult agenda. And this has happened all throughout history. So, like, I forgot where I was going before Apocalypto, but y'all get the idea.
Oh,
Yeah, the thing is though, the people try to make us think, I believe, that we have all this modern technology and all, whilst we today can't even make. They used to make homes in such a way that you didn't even need an air condition. Even if the
Mm.
outside climate was like 50 degrees Celsius in the desert, or 60 even, they could still have like 18 to 20 degrees Celsius inside,
Yep.
which is a perfect room temperature all the time.
Man, you seen the Walking Dead series? Any of you guys?
No, I
Well,
haven't seen it.
well, my well, yeah, it's very popular. But my girl and I, we watched it for from the beginning. She fell in love with it. She's not a zombie person, neither am I. But the storyline was very personable, shall I say? So it was a very interesting show. But there was a point in the show where they ran upon like the CDC director, like the last survivor from the CDC on Earth, like at the CDC headquarters, and
oh,
the
this is season
power.
one. I think you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's in season one. Yeah, at the end of season one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real dramatic scene, like a dramatic episode or whatever. And he said, the power was running out in the CDC, and they had like 30 minutes left before like the place self-destructed because it's the CDC. It's full of like crazy diseases. They don't want getting out, so they're gonna like nuke the air or whatever, like burn the air up. So um, they're pretty much arguing and complaining like, how in the heck can this possibly happen? We're running out of fuel. How's that possible? And the scientist, he's like, dude, the world still runs on fossil fuel. How stupid is that? And this is the same thing Tesla was saying back in his day. It was like, we don't need this fossil fuel. There's other ways. But J.P. Morgan didn't want to fund them because J.P. Morgan was what? Invested in oil and such. So you guys see how it works now? Like, you follow the money. J.P. Morgan at the time and his cronies, his partners, his banking cartel partners could have funded Tesla and his research and made all kinds of stuff that we today know to work, but we're not using because big corporate interests know that there's no profit in free energy or in alternative energy or less expensive energy. There's no profit in that.
Yeah,
So
except
that's
for the
why we do
parts.
it.
Yeah. Only the mechanical parts replacement, but that's not as much profit, of course. It's way less than they would otherwise get if energy consumption was taken in place, you know.
What we have is what's called planned obsolescence. It's where they give you something that they know it's going to break down, it's going to fall apart, so that you can go and repair it. And then what they do through marketing and advertising is make it seem like you should have something better than that. So the iPhone 5 wasn't good enough. You had to have the iPhone 6. And once you got the iPhone 6, there was the iPhone 6 Plus, the iPhone 6 this. The regular iPhone 6 wasn't good enough. You had to get this other one, so you had to upgrade. And
Yeah.
every year, they're selling you something that was really no better than the one year before, just a little different, maybe had a little bit more pizzazz to it. And that's how they keep the consumer, they keep your mind consumer-based instead of economically efficient. They don't teach you how to save. They teach you how to spend your savings and rely on credit, and then you're relying on the system. It's a never-ending cycle. And at the very top of this pyramid, the people who know this are Luciferian. That's why they pulled it off. They're very smart people.
Well, I even know because my brother, he works in the as a car mechanical engineering. So they make the parts of the car in such a way that they wear out. Deliberately make them in such a way. Mercedes does this, in particular, that they wear out after a given amount of time. So you have to buy new spare parts. even the
Man, Johnny,
brand.
you stay in right, go ahead. No, I was gonna say you stay in Europe, and
Mm,
like the cars out there, like when I was out there, were like the most of them the taxi cabs out there, like Mercedes and
mm,
Audi and
yeah.
cars like that. So like in America, however, like the specs are totally different. Like I couldn't bring my car back that I bought there back to America without getting like new windows, new tires, different specs and stuff. The bodies are heavier. Like the cars out there are made for the autobahn to like go faster, and these cars are heavy and stuff. So like Veco, for example, like the old school big bodies, bro, like the old school Cadillacs would if they ran head on into a Cadillac today,
Mm,
it wouldn't even move. Like the Cadillacs today are like plastic and like fiberglass. They're not nothing compared to what they used to be. And just like that old saying, they don't make them like they used to. Well, why do you think that? Because they're made for profit, not for economic consumer efficiency. They're
mm,
not aimed at uh, profiting the person. It's just a corporate game of marketing, and then these corporate businesses that compete amongst one another are owned by one another. So you have, let's say, for instance, Target, and then you got Kmart, then you got Walmart. At the end of it, it's still the same group of people at the top that own both of them. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. You think you got all this choice? It's the same people making it all. When you go to the supermarket, same deal. You think you're buying Tyson meat, or you think you're buying some other meat. 9 times out of 10, it probably came from the same group of people. So, and people today are like, yeah, that's what's up. We need to be down with those group of people. So for people to say it's impossible for them to pull this off or whatever, money talks, man. Money talks. You can go ask these celebrities. 9 times out of 10, the celebrities that we see, if they started as regular people, not like born into celebrityhood or whatever, like their parents were famous or something. The average Joe that they get that becomes famous came from nothing, came from broke homes, no money in their pocket. So when they in a position like LeBron James, for example, came from nothing, man. A little broke kid from, where's he from? Cleveland or Akron, Ohio. When they said, look, man, we'll give you $100 million, man, but you got to be a part of this brotherhood, and this brotherhood is an ancient brotherhood. You're gonna feel proud to be among this brotherhood because at the top, we the kings. We the ones that have all the power and control. There's only a few of us that really know what's going on. People call us the Illuminati, but that's not really the case. LeBron James, we ain't the Illuminati, um, but we do have knowledge that no one has. That's just so they can uh, make it into something that's not. You see, this is how it really works. Oh, Jesus Christ, by the way, he knew the same thing we know, which is why people regard him as a god, you see? This is how the trickery works. This is how they get people in the Freemasonry. They trick them just like the serpent tricked them. Did God really say Jesus was a man? No, he wasn't a man. Or did God say that Jesus was really God? No, he wasn't God. He was really a man.
well, you cut out there, brother. Becco, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah, you sound like
Yeah,
I
he
don't know
cut
what's
out.
going on with G Plus, man. It's a lot of people have been dropping out, cutting off. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's probably my cue anyway, so I gotta head back to work. So
Okay.
I'll try to listen in from my phone. So
Okay.
if I pop back in, I probably won't be able to speak, but I'll be able to listen.
Right. All right,
All
brother.
right.
Take care.
Yeah. Yeah.